You're listening to Biztainment Weekly, with host Scott Janney, presented by magazine Jukebox.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Biztainment Weekly, your latest and greatest on business with entrepreneurs, innovators, technology, new technology. We're going to talk to all kinds of people, even intrapreneurs. So I'm excited to get the show rolling. And again, welcome to the new Biztainment Weekly. I am your host, Scott Janney. I am here in the Norfolk Gather Work Studios, and we are presented by magazine Jukebox, which is a digital magazine rack for commercial spaces. You might see it playing up behind me. All right, so what we're going to do for this show is, which I'm really excited about, is that our producer, executive producer, Mr. Aaron Torres, who you all have not officially met yet, is going to honestly just ask me a couple of questions. So this is going to be a really short podcast, but it is designed to do an introduction for Aaron and to get Biztainment Weekly off the ground and moving. Don't forget, if you enjoy the shows, if you enjoyed MJB.live before and you enjoy this show, please reach out to us so that way we can get you on the show. Even if you are not an entrepreneur, maybe you're an intrapreneur, somebody who works like in their own business inside a business, and you want to talk about your successes or even some of your failures, we certainly want to talk to you because not everything is about success. Sometimes you have to fail to win, and we certainly would like to learn from those mistakes so that way those who are listening can potentially curve out a way to not have those mistakes and focus more on success. So anyways, without further ado, let's say hello to Mr. Aaron Torres. Hello, Aaron.
Hello, Scott.
He is a man of many words, as you will notice. He said to me about the show, he goes, "Hey, Scott, I'm cool doing the show, just don't put me on the show." And I guess we're going to be okay with that. Right, Aaron? You cool with that?
That's good with me.
All right, so just a little background on Aaron. Aaron, you graduated from?
Shenandoah University.
That's right. I was going to say another school. I'm glad I didn't. Okay, so Shenandoah University, and he was their pitcher.
On the bench.
On the bench. Well, hey, someone's got to warm it up, right? That's right. Especially during the winter or the fall. Well, you guys don't play during the winter, so you play during the fall.
Summer sport.
Oh, well, see, I'm way off. So glad I'm wearing a Los Angeles Dodgers hat, acting like I know anything about baseball. Okay, and Aaron, you studied marketing, and you really enjoy marketing, correct?
Correct.
All right, awesome. And how much podcast experience did you have before you started working for Magazine Jukebox?
0.
All right, awesome. So this should be perfect. All right, awesome. So look, Aaron has some questions for me, so I'm going to allow him to ask away, and I'm going to answer them the best I can. But again, thank you, everybody, for joining us and listening, and I'll make sure that we plug in on here how to find us and make sure you follow us. All right, go for it, Aaron.
Tell us about your past and what you currently do.
Okay, yeah. So my past, I am a serial entrepreneur. I have, let me go back a little bit further. So I was really born and raised in Los Angeles, California. Well, actually Hollywood, California, but most people know Los Angeles. And I grew up in a one-bedroom, single-wide mobile home on my grandmother's ranch with my mom and my brother. And I always admire my mom so much because, she struggled. She certainly struggled in life. She was a waitress and a bus driver, but she had a passion for horseback riding, which is where I ended up getting into horseback riding. Don't do it anymore, but I used to do it. And but I admire my mom because I always say, like, there's this cliche that's out there that says every morning you get up and you make your bed. But my mom had to make her bed because her bed was our living room couch. And so it wasn't a easy thing for her by any means, but she did it every day, and she did it without complaint, and I really admire her for that. Fast forward, she ended up owning a real estate company, doing very, very well for herself, and now she's in her 70s and, enjoying the retirement life up in the Tehachapi Mountains of California. So then for me, I got bit by the entrepreneur bug probably when I was about 13 years old, and I launched my first company when I was about 19 years old. And I call a lot of these companies coattail companies because they already have proven track records. And one of them was a construction company that had epic fail with, and then another one was a pest control company I did a little bit better with. Then when I did this .com with this partner, and again, epic fail. But I say epic fail because it could have been so much better. It did end up getting purchased out, but it could have done better. And then I started working in the insurance world. Started at Geico. Then I went to Virginia Farm Bureau. Realized I loved insurance, but I didn't really love working for people as much, and just wasn't for me. And so then I ended up opening up my first insurance agency about 10 years ago. About 6 months after that, my wife, Lauren, who's amazing, also the CEO of our other companies, and the CEO of the house, and basically the CEO of everything in my world. Lauren, she came on board, started learning insurance, and about a year and a half in, the company came, the corporate company, the big umbrella company came to us and said, hey, would Lauren be interested in opening up her own agency? And sure enough, she did. And since then, we grew from zero scratch to a little over $9 million in revenue. We had a couple of successful exits, a couple of mergers in there, and then it wasn't until right before COVID hit that my wife and I, we were talking about diversifying, and we wanted to open up a coffee shop. And I had this vision for this coffee shop that would be called Coffee and Cream. We actually bought the domain, and we had all these hopes of having ice cream and coffee, and how you can mix certain ice creams with coffee to make it a specialty drink. And then I had this vision for this magazine wall. And much like Barnes & Noble, because I loved going to Barnes & Noble. I've always gone to Barnes & Noble to grab a magazine and to get inspired. I really enjoy Inc. magazine or Fast Company. Really enjoy a slew of others. Yacht magazine. That was my inspiration one. I always said want to own a yacht one day. And but now as I'm older, I don't want to own a yacht. I may want to rent one for a week, but I definitely don't want to own one. So we started saying, okay, we'll set up this coffee shop. It'll be a great idea. It's a great way to diversify. We had about 10 employees at the time. And so we did. So we started, I say we did. We started looking at locations. We started scouting, started talking to commercial coffee grade companies, and then boom, COVID hit. And so when COVID hit, we knew that we had to do something for our staff. We wanted to protect our staff. We wanted to make sure that they were not in fear of losing their jobs. So we put on hold this idea of diversifying, and we said, hey, look, we may need this money, so let's not spend it on something else, and let's save it just in case we need it to cover expenses for a year or two, depending on the downfall with COVID. So about four to 6 months in, we noticed hey, things are stabilizing. Insurance is doing okay. There's a couple of programs out there that we're able to help and assist. And my wife and I said, hey, look, coffee shops have really pivoted. They figured this out. And I looked to her. I remember just sitting right in the kitchen, and I just said, yeah, but unfortunately, CDC cut out magazines. And I said, I really want that magazine wall. And she said, she goes, yeah, that is a bummer. And then I looked at her, I said, it's too bad that someone can't just scan a code and enjoy a magazine rack, and pick from a magazine digitally from their phone, or, quite contrary to what we really wanted, which was people to put their phone down and enjoy a magazine. Now we're asking people to keep their phone up, but we are taking them off of the social media aspect, and we're pushing them over to reading a nice publication, depending on their choice. So so I said to her, it's just too bad that doesn't exist. And then she made the cardinal sin to any entrepreneur, and she said, well, why isn't there? So while our other companies were kind of like coattail companies that we have proven track records, we could jump on the coattail and be successful. Not saying that's an easy thing, because it certainly is not. But this was the first time we created something from scratch. Nothing out there existed. So all of a sudden, Magazine Jukebox came into fruition. Fast forward 2 years later, we went live in January, and we've been growing ever since. And so now Magazine Jukebox exists. So there's my story. It's a little long-winded, but normally these podcasts are an hour, so I had to fill some space here. So, but that is my history. There you go, Aaron. Hope that doesn't make you want to quit.
It does not.
Oh, well, all right. That's good. What else you got?
What made you get into podcasting, and what are your hopes for this podcast?
Okay, so what got us into podcasting? So I've done a couple of podcasts in the past, and I went on this specific podcast one day. And if you guys are listening to this podcast, just know I got nothing but love for you. But I normally would never be on a podcast that was anything but PG-13 or better. And just because I come from a strong faith background, but I also come from a professional background with my father, because my father very much instilled in me this concept of always being professional. And when you go outside, you carry the Janney name. And by the way, you could pronounce my last name Janney or Janney. Doesn't really matter. There's a long, funny story to that. But yeah, so I went on this podcast, and it went south really, really fast and went extremely inappropriate. And it wasn't representative of me. It wasn't representative of the brand. And so when I got out of that podcast, I told myself, hey, moving forward, I'm going to be in control of the content. And so for the most part, I mean, I'm going to ask the questions. And I said, so I want to create a podcast. So I set aside a few $1,000s to get the right equipment, get everything that we needed, and launched a podcast. But, furthermore on that is that I really wanted to create a podcast that was all about other people, not about me, not about what I've done, but about what they're doing and how we can learn from them. And thus, we launched MJB.live, went through about 16 or 18 shows. I don't remember the exact number. And it started creating a tremendous amount of traction. And so we're super excited about it. And here we are. So now we now have Biztainment Weekly. And really love the name. Like, I think the name is cool. Like, Aaron and I, we sat down and we're like, all right, if we're going to do this, we've got to go no guts, no glory kind of situation. And so we started coming up with all kinds of names. And I said, fail to win. And then I was like, well, that could be a bad play on words. And then, because in entrepreneurship, a lot of times you do have to fail or that you will fail before you succeed. So, so that's why we got into podcasts and super excited. What else you got, Aaron?
What's this podcast about?
Well, this podcast, is specific to entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, innovative, people, new technology, emerging technologies or businesses that are going to, potentially save or change how things go in the future. But I also want to talk to founders, those who have successfully exited. I want to talk to venture capitalists. I want to talk to investors themselves and just talk to them what has them, interested in businesses, what tapped them to believing in, certain companies and also getting some of the ugly too. Like, what was it that ended up pulling someone away from that investment? Why did you not invest? What was it about the team? What was it about the company? So I want to learn from them. I want to learn from, from even those who are working inside companies that are excellent, like top of their game, amazing people. I'm really interested in talking to them as well and how they became such strong entrepreneurs within the company.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, so that was pretty simple. That was really it. I thought we had more questions in there. He's shaking his head no at me. So hey guys, we're gonna round this out. But again, what I want to do is I just want to encourage everyone who's listening to this. Please share this with your friends, family. Post it, share it, comment on it. If there's things that you don't like about it, comment on it. Tell us. Tell us what you do want to hear. Because, if we don't hear something directly from you, the listener, and there's something that's not, not the hopes that you guys are trying to get to or listen to, then we don't mind pivoting and changing, because this is all about you and it's all about our listeners and viewers but that being said, also remember, I can't make everybody happy, so we will try our best. But again, find us online. I believe our website is biztainmentweekly.com, and you'll be able to go right on there and be able to set up a time slot that works for you to be on our show. So now also, you know what? One of the most important things about the show that we're going to be doing is we're going to continue to do LinkedIn Moment. And so I do want to talk about that real quick, if that's okay, Aaron, if I can just chat about LinkedIn Moment.
Yes.
And so on LinkedIn Moment, we like to always bring out positive posts on LinkedIn. I came up with this idea a while ago, and it has done very, very well. So I look for people that are on my feed and that I can talk about something positive that they posted, that they put out there, and I read it verbatim. So if you have a LinkedIn post that you posted that is positive that you would like to bring to my attention, please shoot me a message so that way I can at least see it. I can't guarantee I'll air it, but I certainly would like to see it, and you never know, may be able to bring it on. So I'm going to kick this off with a LinkedIn moment that I thought was super cool, and this comes from Hampton Roads Alliance, and although I don't know them personally, but it states on here, it says, congratulations to Old Dominion University, which was recently named a National College of Distinction for the 2022-2023 academic year. ODU also received Field of Study badges for its business, education, engineering, nursing, and career development programs, and was recognized for efforts in equity and inclusion and military support, which is excellent, excellent, excellent. I love Old Dominion University. My wife has an undergrad from there. And on top of that, our son actually is going to their soccer camp, and he's only 6, but the college kids there teaching soccer are doing amazing jobs. The thing that threw me off for that, Aaron, which you may appreciate, is that most of the people when I got there, most of the coaches are all from another country. So it was really cool. Some were from Ireland. I think some were from Scotland or New Zealand. And really cool to meet these guys. But they're doing a great job over there. So way to go, ODU. Very, very proud of you. And excited to continue to contribute and see what happens next. So anyways, LinkedIn Moment. Don't forget, send it, share it with me so that way we can talk about it. And other than that, I'll look for it. And if you don't want me to read your post, then don't be my friend. All right. Thanks, guys. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the show. Enjoy the show, and we'll see you next time.